Join us at the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention, March 23rd through 26th. We'll be at booths 1113 and 1114, decked out in cosplay, selling the latest Angel of Death merch. Tickets are available via the link in the description. Hope to see you there.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode this week of The Composition of Imagination. I'm your host and author, Stevie Joe, and these are my two fantastic book guardians, Tasha and Jason. We have started this week talking about the locations of Angel of Death, in that they are asking me kind of in-depth questions about the locations of Angel of Death, because we are celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the publication of the series. So I am just going to turn it right over to them, and whomever has the next location question, we'll just pick right back up.
When you were coming up with the idea for Falshik Mountain, did you think that somewhere down the line there would be a situation where the humans had to work with the creatures just for basically both their survivals, and they would need the mountain?
I have thought of that, actually, and it will most likely come into play during the big battle, war, whatever you want to call it, that's to come, you know, in a later book. And the exact way that I would work that out, I'm not positive yet. So that's still, like, it's outlined roughly, but that's still a TBD kind of thing.
Is there somewhere down the line up to this point, because obviously Falshik Mountain is, I guess, rich with magic.
Yes, yes.
Not to be a spoiler, but when you were coming up with the idea, does that magic play a part in why you have all these different realms and creatures and angels, and basically the whole gamut, literally centered right here?
It does. It does. There's a huge component to that. And, you know, when we were talking about the history of Falshik Mountain, and we were talking about the importance of alchemic falls and all of that, that comes back. There's a reason we keep going back to the mountain and to the falls and to all of that, because it's so important. And the thing about Falshik Mountain and everybody's perception of it being this, like you said, this kind of like podunk, who cares, nowhere place. The thing is, this goes back to what I said, am I being an unreliable narrator? Because am I deceiving you into thinking that it's something it's not? There's a lot of questions still surrounding it, but you will definitely find it out in due time.
Okay.
In due time.
So, like, was that actually your because I know you said you've used it, you used two different stories as your starting point for this series.
Yes.
But did you think of Falshik Mountain as your sort of starting point for Murr County and Merlance and everything, and said, I want this to be the focal point of the county?
I'll tell you what, I didn't think about that, because that was not part of the original two, like, origin, whatever. I didn't really know that I was going to place it as the focal point until Keith sent me back the artwork for the first book.
Oh, where you actually see the waterfall?
And I saw it, and immediately in my head things clicked into place, and I went, oh, this is how it has to be. And it resolved some issues I was having with continuity and plot and all of that. So it quickly filled in those little gaps. And I was like, oh, this is what it is.
If you were to live in, say you yourself, you're gonna live in heaven. Where at in heaven would you live?
I would probably want to live in Utopia because of the ease of access to Nirvana. No one actually lives in Nirvana. That's the place where you go to study your stuff. But I would want to be where I can easily access it. And
so you want access to the library?
I do. I want access to the Holy Library and try to access their vault.
Right.
Which I have a term for it, but it's one of those like old Catholic Italian terms, so it's hard for me to remember sometimes. Right. But it's their vault, basically, with all the old ancient texts. And that's what
you want to learn a 5,000-year-old dead language?
That is totally what I would want. I would want all of that knowledge available to me. I would try my best not to turn into a Carmen.
Right.
But it would be difficult because it would all be there.
Right.
So it would be very difficult. But that is definitely where I would want to live. Secondary would be the Wielder of Fate Castle.
See,
because the Wielder of Fate Castle has more of a library access, but that's more about the people and the souls, rather than just the knowledge of the universe.
Right.
And I would rather have the knowledge of the universe first than see about people and fate and all that. So
yeah, surprising though. I figured you'd throw out Hope's Castle. Because I mean, she literally has her own castle.
Yeah, and I considered that whenever I was thinking about it. I'm like, do I want a castle in Grace? Or do I want to but no, I would rather be, I mean, that's my, you know, all I got to do is the Will Smith meme where it's, So that is definitely one of the place I would prefer to live there. Secondary would be Wielder Fate Castle, but I feel like that's also a lot of responsibility. I wouldn't want all of that on my plate.
Aside from where you would live, would you want to spend a lot of time at the Angels of Wisdom Castle?
The castle itself?
The castle itself.
Probably not. I mean, it's a beautiful castle. The way that I describe it and how it pictures in my mind, it's beautiful, and it's all like gold and stunning and everything so like pristine and stuff. But I just feel like that place is so, it's just so mind-numbing there. Yeah. Because all they do all day long is like meet about fate and talk about the souls that recently came into heaven and, you know, all of that stuff. And I'm like,
they sound like accountants.
It kind of is. It's almost like a city council or something like that, where they just like talk about the issues of heaven and fate. And I'm like, I'd come for like, if there were tours offered, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take a tour of the Castle of Wisdom. Why not? But I would not want to linger for any lengthy period of time. It's just not, and there's not a lot of windows, believe it or not. There's only a few windows, and it's each angel's chamber, and that just doesn't really appeal to me, because I'm like, if I'm going to be in total darkness, I'll just go to hell. Right. You know, where I'll have more fun.
Well, I think that's funny how you done that with the description of heaven and hell. Is that hell, it's always dark, and heaven, it's always light. And that does fall into the old trope of, well, this is how we see heaven. You know, the golden harps and all that stuff. And then you go to hell, and basically it's like, you know, Mount Doom.
Hell, yeah. Yeah, it's Mordor. Yeah. So I would rather not stay too long in the Castle of Wisdom. Faux show. So I think that's a good place to wrap up for this video. Join us again tomorrow. We're going to continue our discussion about the locations and just have some fun with it. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the videos. And we will see you tomorrow.
Catch up on the Angel of Death series today. The first 4 entries are now available directly at steviejoeauthor.com.